Okay, so this is the Harvard story, one of the most important business lessons that I've experienced, particularly for entrepreneurs. And I say experienced rather than learned because I definitely have not learned this in terms of incorporating it into my behavior as much as I should. So I'm going to take this and apply it more in my business and in my life, and you should do the same. So the Harvard story, I was about 2 years into building Everon, my IT services company. And I got a call from a prospect. And this prospect said, hey, we're going to need IT services for about 35 employees. I'd like you to give me a proposal. And of course, my sales process was, I want to come over and meet with you. I want to talk with you, get some FaceTime. I knew that I could always, have a better opportunity to close those deals if I got FaceTime with people. So I said, great, when can I come over and talk to you? He said, Monday through Friday before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. And I was like, before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m.? Like, people don't work before 8 a.m. or, after 5 p.m. Like, after 5 p.m. is when we all take off and go to the bar in Boston, And so he was very adamant that those were the only hours. I said, fine, I'll come over right at 5 o'clock on, whatever day of the week it was. And I show up there, and I was shocked to see that there was not 35 employees in there. In fact, it was a pretty big office in a tower in downtown Boston, so very expensive space. And there was 2 desks with a laptop and a phone on each of them. And they were sitting in the middle of this room, facing each other face to face. And I see these 2 guys in there, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? These guys are wasting my time or something, right? Bringing me over here for a proposal for 35 employees. So I sit down and start talking to the guy, and I'm like, I finally get some rapport going with him, and I'm like, all right, man, tell me what's going on here. You said you need a proposal for 35 employees, and you wouldn't let me meet with you before 8 and after 5. I'm like, you don't look like you got too much going on here. Like, why couldn't we meet during business hours, And he told me, so this was 2 guys from Harvard, 2 Harvard MBAs, and that already made me think less of them, right? Because I'm thinking, oh, it's these, spoiled brats, don't know how to work hard, mommy and daddy's money, all this type of stuff. Everything's easy for them, of course. The reality is that these 2 guys knew that the single most important activity for them to grow their business was the 2 of them sitting and making prospecting calls. These guys sat face to face and did nothing from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. but make cold calls to get appointments, to book opportunities, to sell and grow their business. That was all they did from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. They did not allow anything to interrupt it, including meetings with vendors. And I have always just stuck with me. I admired their discipline so much because they knew the one activity. They were very, very clear about the one activity that was going to grow their business, that was going to change their lives, and it did. They got to their 35 employees very, very quickly. They had a great, their business model was a great business model. It was a financial related business model. So once they got some deals coming in, the money was there, and they grew the business very quickly. They grew it very quickly past the 35 employees and out of that space within just like 18 months. They were incredibly successful because they were laser focused on the one thing, and they didn't let anything get in the way of it. Not meetings, not administrative stuff, not nothing. That one activity that they knew would drive everything else. Gary Keller, the founder of Keller Williams Real Estate, has that question. What's the one thing that you could do that if you did it would make everything else easier or unnecessary? I love that. What a powerful question. What's the one thing that if you did, by doing it, would make everything else easier or unnecessary? These guys knew what their one thing is, and that's the Harvard story. Figure out what your one thing is and get as focused as those guys, and you're unstoppable.